So one of the many problems with the Trump era is that the Overton window keeps moving further and further right. So in other words, the thoughts that are thinkable and the policies that are on the table, those keep moving further and further right. And I think people thought in the past, like, look, there's some line where people will say, like, no, this goes way too far, and let's pull out all the stops to prevent this. Like, for example, say, a genocide happening in today's day and age. Well, the media will certainly rise up over that, and people will certainly rise up over that, and we won't allow that to happen. Wrong. As you all now know, there's a genocide going on in Gaza, and it gets some passive, tepid coverage every now and then, but most of the time, now people have just sort of baked it into their mental model, and they go, yeah, sometimes genocides happen. That's really where we are. I wish that wasn't the case, but that really is where we are. Well, another area where people perhaps thought there were some guardrails, some boundaries, is, the idea of when it comes to immigration, if you are a legal immigrant, you're fine, you're here, everything's good. Even if you're an undocumented immigrant, as long as you're not a criminal, you're fine, there could be a path to citizenship for you, right? This is what I think most people thought to one extent or another. Well, now Trump has shifted that Overton window, and now he's talking about mass deportations, not just of undocumented immigrants, but of non-criminal undocumented immigrants and legal immigrants who they want to make not legal anymore. So here's Jesse Waters on Fox News. He's going to be talking about this issue of immigration and mass deportation, and here's what he says.
And there will be massive clashes because you're going to have cameras out there making sure that they capture the images of ICE coming along and taking these people away. And they deserve to be taken away. Sometimes you have to do tough stuff. But AOC is going to be there tying herself to migrants. It's going to be hysterical. But sometimes dad has to do the tough thing.
So referring to Trump as dad, saying sometimes you got to do the tough thing, talking about mass deportations. Well, as we just brought up in the last segment, Stephen Miller is going to serve as the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy under Trump. He was the architect of the Muslim ban in the first term of Donald Trump. And what they're talking about now is a program of turbocharged mass deportation, but that includes denaturalization. For those of you that don't know, denaturalization means people who are naturalized citizens, so legal immigrants. They're talking about revoking that status and deporting those people too. This should come as no surprise because Trump said in the debate that the Haitians, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets. This is what Trump said. Well, guess what? Those Haitian immigrants are legal immigrants, and he was talking about deporting them. So now the mask is totally off. They're not only going to deport undocumented immigrants who are violent criminals, they're going to deport undocumented immigrants full stop, even if they're law-abiding citizens, just working a job and living their life, and now they want to deport many legal immigrants. And over on Fox News, tee-hee-hee, LOL, isn't that funny? AOC will be against it, and there will be pictures of people being dragged out of the country, families being ripped apart, and it will be hysterical. It will be hysterical. Look, the point that needs to be made over and over and over and over is that it's not that this is like, oh, Americans want this, full stop, right? Like, oh, this is what they want. This is what they ask for. I think when those pictures come out, they'll feel quite different about it. But the problem here is Trump represented a narrative and an ideology. And that narrative and that ideology says, look, I know shit is fucked up right now. And I'll tell you the reason why it's fucked up. The reason why it's fucked up is because of these goddamn immigrants coming in here, stealing your job, committing crime, destroying your communities, ripping this country apart. Blame the immigrants. And if you put me in power, I will represent you and go after the people who have their boot on your neck, these dastardly immigrants. This is the ideology. This is the narrative. Now, that narrative is completely and utterly bogus, totally untrue, zero empirical basis to it whatsoever. But voters went with somebody with a narrative against a party without a narrative. And that's the problem with the Democrats, is they're technocratic elites. They are status quo managers. They want some tweaks around the edges, but their argument is largely things are okay. And you're okay, so shut up. What they wanted was somebody to say, no, I'm fucking pissed. I'm angry because I know shit is fucked up. But let me tell you the real reason why shit is fucked up. These big money donors have bought the government, and the government now represents them and doesn't represent you, doesn't represent regular people, doesn't give you higher wages, doesn't give you health care. And here we are. So they went with the narrative over no narrative. And that narrative is now going to lead to widespread pain. But look, hear me now, quote me later. As soon as you start getting pictures and videos of mass deportations happening and, some of them people totally innocent, get some good investigative journalism done on some innocent people who were deported, all of a sudden, it's all going to flip. It's all going to flip. And Americans are going to be like, holy shit, this is not what I thought the answer was. What's going on here? There was literally an interview somebody did the other day with some undocumented immigrant who supports Trump. And he was like, yeah, I support Trump because maybe he'll fix the economy, but I don't think I have to worry about being deported because I didn't commit any crimes. Gonna learn the hard way, dog. I don't know how to tell you. You're gonna learn the hard way. But expect the right-wing media ecosystem to go full fascist and keep cheerleading no matter how extreme Trump gets with his policies. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.